Tell me why you were after me. I could kill you right now if I wanted to. Once I taste your blood, I'll know everything. But I'm going to give you one more chance. Tell me the truth, and perhaps I'll let you live. But I've got to tell you, I'm growing more and more impatient. Tell me! Now! I knew it. How long have you been a spy for him? What a fool. He thought if he sent a human after me, then I wouldn't notice. Oh, he's always underestimated me. Well, not this time. Oh, yes, we know each other very well. In fact, he's been trying to make me rejoin his coven for over a century now. We've been civil towards each other, for the most part. But ever since the war broke out, he's been trying to hunt me down. I don't belong to any coven. Well, of course we're real. How dare you even doubt our existence for a second? Well, I guess you would. You do seem like someone who doesn't really go out at night. And who's usually home by sunset. Oh. Why don't you have a home right now? Oh, I see. You're one of them. That's how you got mixed up in all this. Oh, I understand more than you think. Despite whatever you've heard about vampires, there's still some of us that desire more than just blood. We're a lot more alike than you may think. Some of us actually still have some humanity left in us. Additionally, I keep an extremely low profile, which is why I felt so threatened by you following me. I like to think I minimize the crime in all the cities I visit by preying on the evil. I lurk the streets at night and I keep an eye out for trouble, especially when innocent people are being harmed. But yes, if I see any, then I intervene and, well, take out the trash. Otherwise, I try to feed on animals, but yes, I know you've probably heard of vampires opting to do so in TV shows and movies. Oh, it's true, all right. It would be profusely difficult to survive without doing so, once you've chosen to be selective about what humans you feast on. But let me tell you, there's nothing as mouth-watering and as invigorating as human blood. Oh, don't worry. Since you've told me the truth and I know who you are now, I should spare your life, shouldn't I? However, I must say, it's been very difficult to resist you. Your smell, it's intoxicating to me. So young. So sweet. How old are you, anyway? Oh, God. Well, I'm about 200 years older than you. Oh. No, don't worry. Don't let the fear of missing out get the best of you. I personally couldn't stand the Victorian era. Or the Civil War. I used to be a shy, naive girl. The daughter of an army general. It was just the two of us for the longest time, Father and I. We had a beautiful house and a farm with tons of animals. Oh, no, my mother died, giving birth to me, so yes, it was just the two of us. He taught me everything, along with the help of our housekeepers and our farmhands. I loved all of them so much. And Father, well, he was very good to me. Until he met Evelyn. Everything changed after that. Suddenly, it was as if he was under some kind of a spell. And shortly after they met, I started to see bite marks on Father. Whenever I asked him where they came from, he would get very upset and defensive, even. and he would only tell me that they were from an animal attack. But Father was a remarkable hunter, and overall, a brilliant outdoorsman. He taught me all about animals and how to defend myself from them. I could tell something wasn't right. He seemed to have all of these secrets that he didn't want me to know about. It was as if all the life had been sucked out of him. I knew she was up to something. I even made up a nickname for her. Evelyn. After she persuaded Father to marry me off to a major 25 years my senior. She wanted me out of the house, out of my childhood home. She viewed me as a nuisance and wanted Father all to herself. I thought I would just put everything behind me and start a new life somewhere else. I refused to go through with the marriage that she had arranged, and after Father had given me an ultimatum that he would have never given me if she hadn't come into the picture, I decided I'd start a new life and run away, and I'd put everything behind me. But the night before I planned to leave, something happened. I was sleeping, and then suddenly awoken by screaming like I had never heard in my whole life, coming from the stables. And I was about to run out and see what had happened, see what I could do to help those poor animals. That's when I realized that we were being attacked by vampires, draped in black cloaks surrounding the house. At the same time, our farmhands and our housekeepers, they must have heard it too, so they ran outside to see what had happened to the horses. And turns out it was a trap. In the blink of an eye, they started slaughtering them. And before I knew it, I heard Father screaming as he ran outside with a rifle in his hands. Evelyn was behind him, but she kept her distance. I couldn't help but notice that there was one figure who wasn't participating in the killing. Instead, it slowly approached our front porch. I watched Father aim his weapon at the figures, and then the one who had separated itself, it practically flew towards him, knocked the rifle out of his hands, lifted him up, and proceeded to bite his neck. My heart broke in half as I watched my father fall to the ground, drained of blood. I started to hear the figure speak as all of its followers gathered around it, and Evelyn and my father. It turned out the figure that had just killed my father was Evelyn's father. She was a vampire, and apparently she had betrayed her whole coven in countless ways. Inevitably, her father came to collect. He screamed at her in the most frightening voice I had ever heard. He then got very close to her face, whispered something in her ear, and stabbed her with a golden dagger. She instantly turned to what looked like stone after it pierced her heart, whatever was even left of it, I guess. As I gasped at the sight of this horrific execution, Evelyn's father and all of the other figures, they looked up at my window and they spotted me. In that moment, I thought I was a goner. I said a quick prayer as I listened to them glide into my house and visualized myself begging them for a painless death. They made their way up the stairs, and Evelyn's father entered my room. I thought I was staring death straight in the face, thought I was taking my final breaths, and I closed my eyes, prepared to die, prepared to have my neck bitten, prepared to be drained of blood. After a minute or two, I slowly opened my eyes, wondering why I wasn't dead yet. And Evelyn's father just stood right in front of me. He wasn't furious anymore, like I saw outside. He was smiling now, and what I heard next would change my life forever. He asked me if I wanted to join him and live deliciously. I just looked up at him, with my jaw dropped to the floor, tears all over my face. He told me everything Evelyn had done throughout the years to try to destroy his coven. And then I was faced with another father's ultimatum. He said that he would either have to kill me or I could join him. He said that he saw great potential in me. I said that I wasn't ready to die yet. And then he bit his wrist and pushed it into my mouth and forced me to drink. I bet you know by now where this is going. So I drank, and I drank, gulps of his ancient blood. Evelyn's father told me that the life I knew was over, but that it was all right because I was destined for much greater things, and that I was about to embark on a whole new journey, a much more adventurous one. As his blood started to change my body, I felt ill and I fainted. After that, a few of his followers had carried me out of my home and took me with them. And the last thing that I can remember is waking up for just a brief moment once we were outside and we were passing the stables. And I remember seeing all of our horses laying on the ground, wounded, bleeding to death. And that's what happened on the last night that I was a human. Everything I knew was gone. And they even trained me to be a fearless, undefeatable warrior. They accepted me. I learned their ways and I adapted to a new life. Justified killing humans until they pushed me too far, especially once the war broke out. I couldn't bear the guilt. That's when I knew I still had some humanity left in me. I knew I had to break away. Anyway, I don't want to speak on this anymore. I've told you more than I've ever told anybody. I know. They turned me into the same type of creature, the same type of monster that killed my loved ones. Evelyn's father hasn't stopped looking for me since. Clearly, he even got a human warrior to spy on me. You know that he's going to kill you as soon as you bring back any information to him, right? Don't ever trust an elder. They have their own agendas. Maintaining secrecy from humans is an absolute priority to him. I will spare your life, but you can never remember seeing me or anything I told you about my past. I'm sorry, but you can't. And honestly, you should be very thankful that I'm not going to kill you. He's probably going to torture you until you tell him of my whereabouts, until you tell him where you last saw me. And unfortunately, I can't have that happen. So I'm going to have to erase your memory. You really think I would have just told you all about my past and let you leave? with all that knowledge? I can't let that happen. I've been running for far too long, and I've worked far too hard. But I will, however, just give you a little love bite. Just stay still. Oh, hush up. It wasn't that bad. I've done far worse, you know. You taste even better than I thought you would. And of course, I would tell you to remember to cover up that scar that you just got on your neck, but you're not going to remember anything. Look into my eyes. Look into my eyes now. Do it. You will not remember anything about me. You will go about your day like none of this ever happened. And you will never make contact with a vampire ever again. Goodbye.